Wow, I can't believe it. We're already at lesson 14. So today we're gonna be learning how to communicate safety to your nervous system through gentle attention to your body and soothing self-talk. And this may sound so similar to the other lessons, but again, when we're looking at healing and when we're looking at these lessons, it's all about repetition. That's how we create new neural pathways. So today we're going to explore building your sense of empowerment. So when you feel empowered, you feel capable, confident, and strong. You believe in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. And empowerment and fear cannot exist in the same space. This is why we're going to focus on empowerment. So let me talk to you about Rebecca, one of the incredible women I work with. She's been dealing with chronic back pain for 3 years and had slowly taken over her life. She stopped exercising, avoided activities with her kids, and lived in constant fear of flare-ups. She sounded just like me many years ago. One day, her daughter begged her to go to a hike they used to do together before, the pain took over her life. Rebecca's first instinct was to say no. What if her back went out? What if got stuck on the trail? But something on her daughter's face made her pause. She realized she had been living her entire life around, you know, her pain schedule. Who hasn't, right? And she got to the point when she was tired of it. So she told her daughter, you know what, let's go, let's do it. And as they started hiking, Rebecca felt familiar twinges in her back and fear thoughts floating in. But instead of turning around, she did something different. She looked at the pain and thought, you don't get to make my decisions anymore. I'm going to enjoy this hike with my daughter, and you can climb along if you want to. So if you notice, this wasn't a very pushy. Rebecca leaned in and almost invited this pain, like she didn't welcome it, but she said, you can come along if you want. It wasn't about being reckless or ignoring her body in this moment. It was about refusing to let fear be the boss of her life. So, what empowerment really means is it's not about forcing yourself to do things through gritted teeth, pushing. It's not about, tapping it out. Just, it's not about the pressure and force. Real empowerment is totally different. It feels like joyful defiance. I'm doing this because I choose to, not because I have to. Confident curiosity. I wonder what I'm capable of. Playful challenge. Let's see what happens when I don't let fear make my choices. And loving determination. I care about this more than I am afraid of that. So I never forget the day I decided to stop negotiating with my pain. I had been invited to a friend's birthday party, but my back was aching and I was tempted to cancel. The old me would have stayed home just to be safe. But as I was about to text my excuse, I caught myself. I realized I was about to let pain make decisions for me again. And I was really tired of living that way. I knew about this work. I knew that I had the skills. So I finally did something that felt at that moment very revolutionary. I got dressed up, I drove to the party, and I had a wonderful evening. Not because my pain went away, but because I decided that my friend's birthday mattered more to me than my comfort zone. I gave priority to her birthday over my pain. Was I being reckless? I don't think so. I knew my pain was neuropathway pain, no structural damage, and I was simply choosing to live my life based on my values rather than my fears. So here's something that may sound crazy, at least a little bit. What if instead of fearing your pain, you started welcoming it as an opportunity? I know, sounds totally wild, but hear me out. Every time pain shows up, we have a choice. react with that usual fear, frustration, and avoidance, or see if if we have a chance and look at it as we have a chance to practice a new response. So instead of saying, oh no, not again, this is gonna ruin my day, we can try, interesting. There's my pain. Let's see how I can handle this differently today. Instead of, I can do this. I cannot do anything when I feel like this. My pain is here, and I am still going to do what matters to me. Instead of, what if this gets worse? We can try, whatever happens, I'll figure it out. I'm stronger than I know. So I want you to think back to the time when you felt truly empowered, maybe advocating for your child, standing up for something you believed, or accomplishing something you didn't think you could do. Notice how that felt in your body. Can you think back to that, to that situation? How did that felt like in your body? And I can, draw here an assumption that probably that felt like a sense of strength and determination, joy and aliveness, confidence in your abilities, and freedom from fear. This is the energy we want to cultivate in the relationship with pain. I want to give you some practical ways to practice empowerment. Start with small acts of defiance. Do something you've been avoiding because of the pain within reason. Start slowly. Don't go for a grand, big gesture at this moment. Make plans without constantly worrying about how you feel. Speak up about your needs instead of suffering in silence. Try a gentle activity you've been afraid to attempt. Change that internal dialogue from I can't because of my pain to I'll find a way that works for me. And notice I didn't say anything about being pain-free. I said here, I'll find a way that works for me. We're looking for accommodating our needs here. From what if my pain gets worse to I can handle whatever comes. And then from I am weak to I'm learning to be strong in a new way. Practice outcome independence, and we're going to define outcome independence in our future lessons. But I think you're going to get just from just the example I'm going to give you here. The goal isn't about eliminating pain by being empowered. The goal is to live your life regardless of what pain is doing. And the success here is measured by how you respond, not by your pain levels. So the practice for this lesson is noticing where fear is making you decisions. What activities have you stopped because of the pain? What plans do you avoid making? How often does pain get the final say in your choices? Try one small act of empowerment, just to do something you value, even if you're not feeling 100%. Make a plan without endless backup scenarios. Speak firmly but kindly to your pain. You're welcome to come along, but you are not driving. Practice empowerment mindset. And I'll give you a few examples just so you get an idea. My pain doesn't get to decide what kind of a life I live. I can feel uncomfortable and still do meaningful things. Every time I choose courage over comfort, I get stronger. And I wanted just to remind you a couple of things. We spoke about it. I spoke about it in this lesson. Empowerment and fear cannot exist. Empowerment is not about pushing or forcing through. Pain can be an opportunity for, to practice courage. You can feel pain and still live your life. And really the success here is measured by, not by, pain levels, but by how you respond. Okay? I want you to remember you're not fragile. You are not at the mercy of your pain. You have choices, even when those choices feel limited. Every time you choose to live your life based on your values and based on what you want rather than your fears, you're building empowerment. Every time you refuse to let pain make the decisions, you're reclaiming your power. Your pain may have taught you to be afraid, but you can teach yourself to be brave. Not reckless brave, but wise brave. Not forcing brave, but joyful brave. You get to decide what kind of a life you live. Your pain gets to have options, but doesn't get to vote. This is really about, practice, not a destination. Some days you'll be capable, you remember what to do, you're going to be practicing, and other days you may be just more vulnerable and cautious. Both are fine. The goal is simply to keep practicing the choice to live from that courage rather than fear, one small decision at a time. And as you notice, all the lessons we've done are to take you back and to that approach of curiosity over fear. So thank you so much for joining today. I'll see you in the next lessons. I cannot believe that we already have 14 days, so we already halfway, a little bit more than halfway through all the lessons. I'm looking forward to hear back how you resonated with this. Do you have any questions? And see you next day.